We are going to move on to our 4.4 addendum. Consideration of an update regarding disruption to critical quagga and zebra mussel funding and next steps, including affirmation of appeal, grant decision. B, consideration of board and staff letters requesting action by Governor Newsom and our state legislative delegation to restore funding for the Clear Lake Mussel Prevention Project. Consideration authorizing staff to partner with Nielsen, Merksamer for additional state-level advocacy. D, consideration of a resolution amending the motion by the board approving the recommended budget for fiscal year 25-26 by adjusting revenues in budget unit 1072 Cannabis and 8109 Watershed Protection District.
Hello everyone, it's Pawan Upadhyay, Lake County Water Resources Director, and I'm here joined by Jacqueline, she's our accountant, and Corey, he's Quagga Mussel Water Resources Technician. Thank you both for taking our agenda item for this meeting. I will go for the executive summary of this item. For your boards and the public awareness, the Lake County Watershed Protection District was recently notified of our 2025 Quagga and Zebra Mussel Infestation Prevention Grant application facilitated by the California State Parks Division of Boating and Waterways. This our program will not be funded in this fiscal cycle. And this was a request for about $400,000, to be specific, $399,520 request to support the Clear Lake Mussel Prevention Project, and the majority of the funding would have gone to support the ramp monitor staffing cost. So once we have been notified about it on Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025, I contacted the program office emphasizing the potentially profound consequence of disruption to this critical funding. Our application was denied due to a clerical oversight as opposed to any substantive concern or deficiency. So in response to my July 23rd communication with them, they asked to file a formal appeal. So I went ahead and filed a formal appeal with them on July 24th, 2025 with the Division of Boating and Waterways Executive Deputy Director Ramona Fernandez. As of this writing, no response has been received. In large measure, because of the work of our trained ramp monitors, introduction of quagga and zebra mussel to Clear Lake has been mitigated to date, particularly with increased complexity associated with recent infestation of golden mussels in California water bodies. Remaining vigilant is essential to the health of the ecosystem surrounding the county's defining geographic feature. You will be aware California's Delta region is likewise a bass fishing haven, and fishermen commonly travel between the two water bodies. Should monitoring of quagga and zebra mussel and golden mussel be suspended, it may just be a matter of time before infestation occurs due to introduction by vessel visiting Clear Lake. This is a significant threat, and loss of Clear Lake as a vibrant fisheries and habitat would have dramatic implications for our county and the state. Once introduced, deciduous mussels significantly alter lake ecology by displacing native species, destroying native habitats and the species that depend on natural habitats, blocking water delivery, disrupting recreational and commercial fishing, undermining docks and all other structures in the water, impeding navigation and enjoyment of the county's waterways. These mussels have caused devastating impacts on municipal water systems, recreation and fisheries in other areas of the country. We must collectively remain vigilant. As previously stated, Lake County Watershed Protection District and Water Resources Department staff are already appealing this highly regrettable decision of Boating and Waterways Division's decision. In addition to this action, staff recommend your board consider 3 additional steps. Number 1, Authorize me as Water Resources Director and the County Administrative Officer to co-sign a letter to Governor Newsom, State Senate President Pro Tempore McGuire, and Assembly Majority Leader Cecilia Aguirre Curry, strongly encouraging them to intervene in the state's state's interest and fund the Clear Lake Mussel Prevention project, and to authorize a letter from your board. Second, authorize Water Resources and County Administrative Office to partner with counties, state legislative and regulatory advocacy firm Nielsen, Merksamer, to support our representatives in urging the Division of Boating and Waterways to reconsider their decision. Third, as of this writing, the Water Resources Department has approximately $13,000 in Quagga and zebra mussel inspection sticker revenues, and an urgent increase of available funding is required due to Division of Boating and Waterways decision. With your board's approval, $266,445.86 is available in Cannabis fund dedicated to water resources, planning, code enforcement, and similar purposes can likewise be utilized to continue ramp monitoring. The staff additionally recommend allocating $75,000 in economic development focused cannabis funds. The attached resolution will execute the necessary amendments to your board's recommended budget for fiscal year 2025 and 26 by adjusting revenues in budget unit 1072, Cannabis, and 8109 Lake County Watershed Protection District. This will provide in total $341,445.86 in interim funding for continued monitoring until the department can reapply for the grant funding in the next funding cycle, should the formal appeal prove unsuccessful. Screening for Quagga and zebra and golden mussel is essential to seal gains made by recent county and state state investments in health of Clear Lake investment and providing the best possible future for all Lake County residents and visitors. The staff recommend your board affirm continuation of the formal appeal process and authorize the additional action detailed above.
All right.
Yeah.
Did you have anything to add? Or? No? Any questions? Supervisor Sabatier?
I do have some questions, and that sucks that this happened. Appreciate that you've already done a formal appeal. I think there's no question that we should at least attempt to appeal. I do have my concerns about reaching out. Like if we had dotted our I's and crossed our T's and just got denied, then I think easily reaching out to folks like Governor Newsom and our representatives would be a no question. I'm not certain how I feel to not have submitted a complete application, even though it is a very fine point technicality. And saying we urge you, well, it's kind of an uncomfortable way of going about it. So I'd love to hear from my colleagues. I'm not against it, but I'm uncomfortable about doing that as well. But the formal appeal, I think, is not a problem. As far as making sure that you have the funds to continue moving forward, no matter if the appeal is approved or not, and just for today's purposes, I do see that you have some reserves in the Watershed Protection District, some reserves in water resources, just kind of, I guess, asking why go after the cannabis funds when you have your own funds? Is there a purpose behind that? Is there a reason to save that? Is that allocated for other purposes? Just kind of wanted to open that dialogue to see what else might be possible.
Yeah, I think my understanding is the reserve we have is for some specific purposes. So we might not be able to utilize is for this specific program. And we do have some funds which adds towards it, like the sticker sales. But overall, like this grant is like a critical part in filling the funding gaps in between. So that's where that comes in. And I think we probably not be able to utilize some of our, we do supplement this grant with other funding sources. So this is not the only source we have, but it is like a major part of the program.
Okay. And then my last question is, I'm also slightly uncomfortable with, it sounds to me, and maybe I'm reading it incorrectly, that there's $266,455.86 available in the water resources / planning / code enforcement. It sounds like you're asking for us to approve to deplete that entire bucket, which would prohibit planning and code enforcement from having access to that bucket, when I know there's a lot more money in the economic development bucket as well. Is there a way to recalibrate so that we don't say planning, sorry, but you're out of money, or code enforcement, you're out of money? I'm reading it in the way that we're completely zeroing out that balance for that specific bucket.
So that would deplete everything that is unallocated. There's quite a bit of money in the economic development bucket, so we can absolutely change it to that instead of depleting. But everything that's already been budgeted for this year has been removed. So the balance unallocated is the $266,000.
And I don't want to move the 266 on the other one, just a better balancing act of it. It would make me feel more comfortable to allow the other departments to still have access to some funds if they are making a request this year.
Yeah, either way we are fine, like as far as we reach that number from this bucket or that's fine.
Okay.
Ellen?
I just had a question on how many ramps do we have going into our lake? You had mentioned something like 5 or something up to 20. How many ramps go into the lake, and how many of them are we monitoring?
So,
Hello, is this on?
There you go.
There we go. Hi, thank you. So we have, let's see, 3rd Street, 5th Street, Cannabis Casino, Lakeside County Park.
There's 12 listed on here, but I meant private ramps as well.
Private ramps? Oh, there's got to be at least over 800
Okay.
of residents that are.
What I'm
on
worried
the
about is
shoreline.
what we might be missing with this program. What I'm getting at is there another way to so we don't get the gotaways, basically? Is there another way to approach this that there's 3 main routes into the county, correct?
Yes.
Something along those lines is what I'm getting at, so that we're covering all of the area opposed to worrying that we've missed something.
I think there's a longer term plan to that. If we really wanted to stop every boater that's coming into the county, we would need to get permanent decontamination stations.
Nicole?
One posted up and
Go ahead, Tues.
I just wanted to point out that that would be a larger discussion that wasn't noticed for today's item.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so that's, if your board wishes, you can certainly direct staff to bring that item back for discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. That would be interesting.
yeah, and just to briefly provide a answer to that is the one thing which is the new park which is going on the Highway 20 and 53. We were talking about putting a permanent station there, so all the people coming in have a dip station kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know who was first.
Yeah, it is something. It is a problem. It is something we've been talking about for a while, and even when Angela was part of
I
staff.
think that's where I heard it from.
Yeah, when we talked about the
when I was
golden
campaigning.
mussels. Yeah, back then. But for today, I feel like this application was. There was a reason to deny this application because we didn't have this old letter in, and that's the excuse, because they have limited funding this year. So I feel like we do need to advocate. We do need to send these letters. We do need to lobby. We recognize that letter was left out, I don't think it's of high consequence. I think it was just the excuse that they could cross us off the list. So let's be as aggressive as we possibly can. I'm in favor of lobbying and sending the letters and all of the work that we need to do, because it's absolutely critical. We have reserves. We have to backfill this, hope that we get funding down the road, but we cannot miss a step, because this is so critically important. And even as Supervisor Owen mentioned, like, we still have many vulnerabilities, but we do know that this works and we have to keep it going.
Vice Chair?
Yeah, obviously, I don't think there's any question we need to figure this out and get some funding in there. This has to happen. Regarding the cannabis funding, which I'm not opposed to, but could we also look, we don't know the answer to this yet, but we're going to have potential carryover when we get those reports down the road. If we went with cannabis funding today, could we look at the potential of backfilling that back if, considering we did have available balance? I don't know if we will, because there's other things we're going to be discussing too, but I just wanted to throw that out. I'm not opposed to, appreciate that you've already filed your appeal request. I support that. I'm not opposed to the advocacy letters. I'm open to changing language in regard to Supervisor Sabatier's comments. If there's adjustments we can make, we can state that, we had this mistake with the lacking letter that was there, but in the interest of this being a critical thing, we're just asking the state to find another way to help us, is I guess how I would pose the letter. That, yes, we realize that there was less funding, you had to make decisions, but for the health of Clear Lake, I mean, if we get these mussels in here, we're never going to get them out. So I think we have to advocate, but I'm open to looking at the language. So.
And even with this board's approval, we will still try to fill in the gap or like the funding wherever we can with our any other grants or anything we can fill up in. So this would be kind of our last source we draw from.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. With that, we'll open it up for public comment. Come on up.
Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for taking my comment. My name is Angela Palmadao. I'm Executive Director of the Lake County Land Trust, formerly the Invasive Species Program Coordinator in Water Resources. During my tenure with the Quagga Zebra Mussel Program, I alone managed $2.3 million in state and federal grants for the program, including the one that's of discussion today. It's essential that this program, the ramp monitoring staff, are maintained to protect Lake County from invasive mussels. And the priority of any funding should go towards maintaining the ramp monitoring staff. They're most often the first line of defense, the last line of defense for protecting our aquatic resources in Lake County. And a lot of times they're the first thing that people see, or the first person they talk to when they come and visit our lake. And for what it's worth, I support the steps the Board of Supervisors is taking today. I support the approval of both the letter and the budget allocation for continued lake protection. This program has never actually had enough funding to fully function as needed, as required, to provide full protection against invasive mussels throughout the county. And to that end, I do have a couple small suggestions if you would like them for the letter contents. The district and partners, they worked really, really hard between 2022 and 2024. Corey was a big part of that, to develop the Clear Lake Integrated Preparedness and Resilience Plan for Invasive Mussel Management. I know it's a mouthful. This plan is on the Water Resource Department website. It was presented both to the Board of Supervisors, the City of Lakeport, City of Clear Lake, Big Valley Rancheria, and was provided in written format to Robinson Rancheria staff and council for feedback. And we did incorporate feedback into the version that's on the website, and that was all in 2024. It's a response plan. In the development, we included tribal partners, city, state agency, all of their feedback in their integration. And even in the authorship acknowledgments, it includes staff from CDFW, so California Department of Fish and Wildlife. So it has value as a state agency approved document. I would suggest referencing this plan in your letters and appeal, as this plan, it's more recent than the 2019 prevention plan, which 2019, and then the plan was 2024 for the response. It emphasizes the importance and resilience on state grant funding and enhancement of the prevention plan as the best pathway to preventing a shutdown of Clear Lake due to a mussel invasion. It also mentions a chapter about protecting the incoming traffic on roadways and working with Caltrans and partners to set up those stations. To prevent this from ever happening again, I suggest an update to the Lake County Invasive Mussel Prevention Plan. It was originally scheduled for 2025, and adding the CDFW approved letter as an appendices. So no matter what, whenever you submit the plan, the letter of approval is submitted with that plan and is included in any application to any agency from here on out. I would be careful with including golden mussel in any of your letters regarding this grant and appeal to this grant. The Division of Boating and Waterways was very, very clear. Their grant program does not fund golden mussel. They said it in their webinars, they say it in the guidelines. They do not fund golden mussel prevention efforts. I would hate to see an appeal denied based on that specific language. Also, golden mussels are not under dracynid mussels. I'm sorry, it's the science hat, but when you're talking about a science-based program, you really want to be clear on the science there. Allowing this inaccuracy really indicates ignorance and removes some of the seriousness from your side of the issue of reading all the materials and knowing the grant program clearly. I fully support and recommend continued efforts to seek and acquire funds. There's a CDFW boat ramp access funds that would fund ramp monitoring efforts. There's Blue Ribbon Committee funds. They've already expressed interest in funding golden mussel response and other quagga mussel and zebra mussel prevention monitoring response. I went there in December and did a presentation to them, and they expressed interest in funding some of that program. And then there are current funds within Water Resources to fund data collection and water monitoring. So maybe your appeal doesn't come back with the full fund, the full $400,000 of the grant requested, but maybe some of it for ramp monitor staff. You can supplement that with other grants for water quality monitoring that Water Resources has. Thank you for your time today, and for what it's worth, again, should the need arise, I'm here in Lake County. I worked for the Water Resources for 7 years. Every year I applied for this grant, I got it. I'm really sorry you guys didn't get it this year. And if there's anything that you need from me for this program, I'm a phone call, email, a text, conversation away. I would love to help out and continue this program any way I can. I still talk to the ramp monitors. I stop by. I still say hi to Corey. I'm here, available as a resource. I'm available. That's it. I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. And as she stated, she has a lot of knowledge in this. That's why I let her go beyond the 3 minutes. So
I have my comments hard copy to provide for you.
there you go.
Because the recommendations are in there, and I talk
Thank
fast.
you. All right. All right. Any other comments from the public? No hands in Zoom. I will bring it back to the board. Supervisor Sabatier.
I wanted to ask Dr. Upadhyay, the comments made about possibly removing golden mussel. This is a quagga and zebra mussel infestation prevention grant. What are your thoughts? I understand your reason for putting it in this letter, because obviously it's something we're all thinking about that we need to be aware of. But do you feel that it should stay there, that it needs to be removed? Does it taint the possibility of getting that appeal approved? I want to hear from you.
So the formal appeal doesn't include golden mussel anywhere mentioned in that. It just includes quagga and zebra mussels. It's just on the board memo, and it's just like for the context that golden mussel has been added to that it's a new threat towards it.
And so the letters themselves that are to the governor and to our state representatives are distinct from the appeal itself. Therefore, that's why you're not mentioning to take them out of the
exactly. I mean, we can think more about it, but as far as the formal appeal for this application goes, it doesn't include golden mussel because it was not for that.
And I think that to me is the most important aspect. We are trying to persuade and convince politicians not meet grant requirements with these letters. The formal appeal is a different process. So I'm okay with the advice from Dr. Upadhyay.
I think, why don't we ask the lobbyists? We're going to set the lobbyists out to do this work. Let's get their recommendation on whether or not to put this language in. We can approve the letter and make the change once they give that direction, because I don't really know what to do. And I don't want to jeopardize an opportunity. And I feel like our lobbyists will have a much better gauge on whether or not we should include it or not.
So how do we parse that out then? Do we
We approve the letter, and then have pending review whether or not,
the lobbyists?
get some,
Perhaps this will help clarify
Okay,
stuff.
thank you.
There are 2 letters recommended here. Right, so there are 2 letters recommended here. There's one where your board would approve Director Uppiday and Susan Parker to sign, and then one that would come directly from the board. And depending on the recommended language, and you could go through the language for each of those letters, and you could structure them in a way where you're happy with reaching out to individual entities. So if you wanted one letter to suggested go to the governor, you could.
no, I'm just saying, we want to send a letter. We're not sure if we should have the words golden mussel in it or not. And I want to check with the lobbyists
Okay.
before we send them. And so if there's a way to approve it today in concept, but we get that feedback and the board's okay, I think we're okay either way, but we just want the recommendation from one more set of eyes.
I think that Juan actually stated that he does not have golden mussel in that letter. So basically, they both concur.
Can I clarify which? I mean, I would like a clarification on which
July
letter
29th letter?
you're talking about. They're the same letter.
The letters
Okay.
are the same. It has
So-
golden mussel in the letters, but the letters are not directed to the department that does the grant. They're directed to political figures that are going to hopefully help push these things through. The formal appeal letter did not have golden mussel according to what we're being told. So we're only specifically talking about letters that would be sent to representatives
Okay.
and nothing more.
Okay. So so right now you're talking about the contents of any letter that would go to the representatives as opposed to the appeal board. Got it. Thank you. Yes, you could approve in concept and give a suggestion to language to staff, and then you can approve that letter, and then have that letter sent to whomever you would like to have the second eyes on, and then have that brought back to you.
But as for the budgetary item, we would take care of that today for sure.
Yes.
Okay. And I see, Matthew, are you coming up?
So yes, I was just wanting to confirm that there is language in both letters that refers to golden mussels, and the intent of that language was to draw attention to the fact that there have been golden mussels identified in the Delta region of the state, and boats do commonly travel between the 2 water bodies because they share the attribute of being relatively strong bass fisheries. So it does present a significant threat that is in the state's interest to address. Whether, and I understand that there also then is the question of whether that particular funding stream is relevant. And I agree with Supervisor Pyska raised the idea that we could check in with our lobbying firm about whether it's best to exclude that language, even if it does have political weight in a sense because of that potential disqualification, and happy to make that outreach for sure.
Yeah, and I think the 2 letters we are talking about, one is like the formal appeal, which is to the department, and the other one is for the legislature. So the formal appeal doesn't include golden mussel.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I already got it.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Vice Chair.
I'd be fine with, if we check with the lobbyist and he says yeah or he says no, then I'm good to go with whatever he says
All right.
on these letters that are going to the political.
Supervisor Sabatier.
I think these are letters meant to get attention and to then engage and have discussions. And I think this is it brings up a very hot topic issue of something that's happening. I don't think this changes the formal appeal process. This is how much do you want to grab someone's attention, to pay attention to what your needs are. And I think I want to support our director and what was written with other staff members. I think what we have in front of us is good. I also want to make sure it gets in the hands of folks right away and not have to wait through a process to wait for our lobbyists.
Also, a quick comment on that. I think having a golden mussel on that letter would be beneficial, might be beneficial, because there are some funding for specifically for the golden mussel. So if we draw attention towards, because now looking forward, I think Quagga, zebra, and golden mussel gonna go together for any discussion. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, we are perfectly fine with checking about it.
Yeah, I don't think there's any harm in checking.
No, I think that the only harm that it might come up is slowing it down. That was the only
Yeah.
added, was if it takes a little bit of time to get it checked with our lobbyists. I think it's a great idea, Jessica. I just don't know if it's going to slow down the process at all, that's all.
Let's just see, Matthew, what do you think the timeline will be?
With respect, I was thinking that it may be possible to propose a middle way, in a sense, in that if we were to remove the paragraph that refers to the golden mussels right now, as it currently sits, this is on the second page of the letter, that would remove the point of inconsistency in terms of whether we potentially were describing golden mussels as dracenid mussels, which was the scientific inaccuracy that had been raised earlier in this presentation. And I don't think that that would preclude, if with your board's direction, our lobbyists making the connection that particularly with the golden mussel being, having reached the Delta region, and particularly with boats traveling between those two places, I don't know that that necessarily has to be in the formal letter. And I agree with Supervisor Owen that getting a letter in the right hands sooner rather than later is probably important. And if we have concern that that language could end up negatively affecting the success of that effort, then maybe it does make sense to remove that from the formal letter, but also gain your board's support in concept of speaking to the crossover and the need to ensure that we're screening now more than ever, in part because of also the golden mussel.
I'm happy with that. Sounds good to me.
Okay.
All right.
Just a quick clarification. The other times that golden mussels are mentioned in there, you're just saying that it's mentioned appropriately and therefore no need to erase any further thing than just that second paragraph on page 2? Because it's mentioned again on the second to last paragraph where it says screening for quagga, zebra, and golden mussels, and it's also on the last paragraph on page 1. Is it page 1?
Well, there's 3 mentions of it.
All right, it's the first partial paragraph of second page. So there's the golden mussel there's the paragraph, and then the second to last paragraph. Yeah. I just want to make sure those other 2 are fine in.
So if it's your board's direction, we can certainly remove each of those. And that, from what I'm hearing, that there may be that could be disqualifying if that funding source at present cannot be used for golden mussel finding. It's a positive adjacency that we're also able to identify potentially golden mussels. So if we're trying to follow that principle all the way through, I thank you for pointing out those additional occurrences, Supervisor Sabatier. Removing all of them would be very reasonable. We can get the letter signed with your board's Adobe signatures very soon. And get them into the right hands. And then also, again, I do think there is that adjacency to golden mussels, though nonetheless, that is an important political argument and would be interested in your board's direction on using that outside of the context of the formal letters.
Yeah.
But
Final comment. I would actually like to see the first one remain just because it says with increased complexities associated with recent infestations of golden mussels. It doesn't speak that the money is for that, but there are increased complexities, and I think we should at least mention it once. The other times, it may be more closely related to how we're planning to use the funding, but I just think it'd be nice to sneak it in. Just so
I like it. I like that.
Trying to find a compromise.
No, I like it.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
okay.
Okay, do you want action?
Ready.
Okay. I think what's this first motion? Affirm the board's
Decision for
board.
support. Yeah, you see it. Can I read it? And then she says, so moved.
I can read it. I move that we affirm the board's support for continuation of the formal appeal process associated with Lake County Watershed Protection District's Clear Lake Mussel Prevention Program grant application.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there anything else I must add, Nicole, or we're good? All right.
Not for that one.
All right. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Mr. Chair, I move that we authorize Pawan Upadhyay, Water Resources Director, and Susan Parker, County Administrative Officer, to co-sign a letter to Governor Newsom, State Senate President Pro Tem McGuire, and Assembly Majority Leader Cecilia Aguiar Curry, as amended, strongly requesting they intervene in the state's interest and fund the Clear Lake Mussel Prevention Project, and authorize a letter from your board.
Second.
Is that,
It looks like that was meant to be an option rather than both. It's an and/or.
and/or?
So, and? Yeah.
I want the chair to sign.
Okay.
That's the one.
Rather than everybody to
Right.
sign.
I move that we authorize the board chair to sign these letters, this letter, as amended.
Second.
All right. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, and then Mr. Chair, authorize, this is the same thing, right? This is to partner? Okay,
This is for the
authorize.
lobbyist.
Oh, okay. Authorize Water Resources and County Administrative Officer to partner with the county's state legislative and regulatory advocacy firm, Nielsen, Merksamer, to support our representatives in urging the Division of Boating and Waterways to reconsider their decision.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And before we move on, are there any changes? Because again, I'd rather we not deplete what other departments have the ability to access from the planning and what else was it, code enforcement?
So you were
And if there's a way to balance out
Economic development.
those two buckets,
Yeah,
just
I
want to
think
see how the board feels about that.
That's where I was wanting
Yeah,
to go.
I thought, yeah. Stephen, did you want
Balance
to
that
add?
out.
I'm going
add
to
to
respond once your board, Stephen Carter, Assistant CAO. Once you have a decision, that's when I'll respond. But yes, it can be done. Just what percentage, 50/50?
50/50, I would say.
50/50?
That's fine.
That's fine.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Commonly, and I think this is what you're referring to, commonly when we send letters to the legislature or the governor, we will send it to the full board for signature. That's what has been past practice. So we can get that Adobe sign out today and get it to all of you. Just please sign it as soon as you receive it.
So
Do we have to
we have to
readdress
amend
that
the
vote?
motion.
We have to amend, because we have the board chair signing.
the motion was for the board chair to sign.
Yeah.
The only amendment we made to the text was the golden mussel. We did not amend the signature.
That is true.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm good with that.
That was the other reason I was up here. But
Well, don't leave.
okay.
So we don't need to amend that motion?
The motion was to approve the letter. You can,
Clarify.
there can be a motion to reconsider, and the motion to reconsider the prior decision about adoption of the letter and having the chair approve the letter. Once that motion is approved, if it's approved, then it can be reread as approving the whole board to sign, rather than just the chair.
Move to reconsider.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And then we would now read it again, right?
Do we want a public
I-
comment?
Oh, yeah, we got to open it up for public comment. Yep, I brought it back. Bring it back to the
I think
board
it's number
for
two.
action. It's number 3.
Move to approve the letter to Governor Newsom, State Senate President Pro Tem McGuire, and Assembly Majority Leader Cecilia Aguiar Curry, strongly requesting they intervene in the state's interest as amended. That's it.
And signed by the.
And signed by the whole board.
The full board.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Lastly, we have the budget.
resolution.
Yeah, the budget, is it? Yeah, the budget resolution, and we're adjusting the cannabis to be 50/50 with economic development, right? In that portion?
Correct, and then would your board also authorize us to actually add the accounts 81, 22, and 23 in said budget unit so it can actually happen?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll offer the resolution as amended.
Resolution has been offered, and that's okay? That's okay? All right. Yes.
Just a quick question. The amendments, since it speaks specifically to numbers within the recitals, the fact that we said 50/50, does that automatically impact the recitals to then be amended as such to show a split of the 266,000 and the 75,000? Right now it says whereas we're going to take money from this bucket, 266,000, and this bucket, 75,000. We just changed that to 50/50. If we just say we're splitting it evenly, does that automatically change the recitals to reflect that? I just want to make sure, because the resolution itself doesn't change because it's the entire amount coming out of budget unit 1072, which is our cannabis. It's not specific to a specific bucket. I can,
All right, Stephen?
It should be fine the way it's written.
Okay. All right.
It would be better if it was amended, but
can I offer an amendment to the resolution that was offered, that recitals 3 and 4 show $170,722.93 to equate to the exact amount divided by 2?
You can amend the whereases and then adopt the resolution as amended.
I offered that resolution as amended.
Resolution has been offered.
Aye.
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 Yes.
Aye. That resolution passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. And with that, we will adjourn.
Yes.
2:43.